Okay, so you want to know what it's actually like inside a Mexican cartel. Not the Netflix version, not the Narcos version where everyone has perfect hair and meaningful eye contact in the rain. The real version. The version where a 14-year-old kid standing outside a convenience store in Culiacan makes a decision that takes about 4 seconds, and that decision echoes for the rest of his life, however long that turns out to be. We're going rank by rank, every level, every paycheck, every consequence. And I promise you, by the end of this, you will never complain about your job again. Let's start with the first rung on the ladder. They call him El Halcón, the hawk. He's the lookout, the ghost, the kid nobody notices. You are 13, maybe 14. You live in a neighborhood where the cartel isn't some scary thing on the news. It's just the infrastructure. It's who fixes the roads. It's who throws the Christmas parties. It's who your cousin works for. Someone approaches you. The offer is simple. Stand here, watch that corner. If you see a cop, call this number. That's it. That's the whole job description. You get paid between 100 and 300 pesos a day. That's roughly 5 to 15 US dollars for standing outside, which you are already doing. You tell yourself it's temporary. Here's what they don't tell you. You are now a registered asset. You exist in someone's mental ledger. You have a value. And in this world, things with value don't just get to walk away. The Halcón network in Mexico is estimated to be in the tens of thousands. Entire neighborhoods function as passive surveillance grids. You're not just a lookout, you're a node in a human internet that predates Wi-Fi and is significantly harder to shut down. Your risk level? Surprisingly high for someone doing literally nothing. Rival cartels don't care that you're 14. Your enemy infrastructure. You've seen faces, you know corners. Average career length at this rank is 6 months to 2 years. Your exit options are promotion, arrest, or a conversation you don't walk away from. Welcome to the org chart. Now for rank 2, El Burrero, the mule. Congratulations, you now carry things that can destroy your life. You've proven you can keep your mouth shut. That's genuinely the main qualification. You don't need to be smart or tough, just quiet and reliable. So now you carry things, packages, backpacks, sometimes strapped to your body, sometimes in a car with a false floor that smells like industrial solvent and bad decisions. You cross checkpoints, you drive routes, you deliver to addresses that don't exist on Google Maps. The pay jumps to between $50 and $200 per run, sometimes more for international crossings. Sounds like good money until you understand the math. The package you're carrying might be worth $500,000 on the street. You are being paid a fraction of a percent of its value to absorb 100% of the legal risk. You are a human insurance policy that the company has no intention of paying out. And here's the dark joke nobody tells you. The mules who get caught, they're the lucky ones. Because the mules who lose a package, to theft, to a bad route, to just bad luck, those guys have a different kind of problem. A problem that doesn't get solved in a courtroom. So that's the entry level, the first 2 rungs of a corporate ladder with no HR department and only one kind of exit package. It starts with a 4-second decision on a street corner, a few pesos for doing nothing. It escalates to a backpack full of paranoia and a payment that's a fraction of a percent of the risk you carry. And for every person who climbs higher, hundreds are consumed by the first 2 steps. It's a system designed to use you up and replace you. Remember that the next time you have a bad day on the office.
Let's continue with the climb up the ladder. Rank 3, El Cobrador, the collector. You've moved up. You're now a walking tax authority with no legal oversight. You have a phone now, a burner obviously, but still, you have a defined role. The Cobrador collects piso, the cartel tax. Every single business in the territory pays. The taqueria on the corner, the pharmacy, the The guy who sells phone cases from a folding table? The dentist. For some reason, especially the dentist. You show up, you collect, you record, you report back. The pay reflects the new responsibility, $300 to $800 a week, sometimes with a percentage of the take. And here's where the personality splits. Some cobradores are professional, almost polite. They keep a schedule, they say good morning, they're basically middle management in a suit that doesn't exist. Others are not like that at all. The problem is you don't get to choose which one you are based on your personal values. You choose based on what your boss rewards. And bosses at this level tend to reward fear, not quiet efficiency. So you learn to be scary, or you learn to fake it. After a while, you can't tell the difference anymore. The violence at this rank is mostly implied. Mostly. But implied violence has a way of becoming literal on a Tuesday afternoon when someone decides they're not paying this month. And just like that, you've crossed a line that didn't have a sign on it. You only notice it in the rearview mirror, long after you've passed. Not everyone makes it to the next rank. Not everyone wants to. Rank 4, El Sicario, the enforcer. This is where things get uncomfortable. Some people, through a combination of circumstance, desperation, and the slow erosion of every moral boundary they ever had, end up here. The Sicario is the cartel's immune system. When something threatens the organization, the Sicario responds. Pay varies wildly, $500 to $2,000 for a standard job. A high-value target can bring in $10,000 to $50,000. There are even documented cases of hits on rival bosses paying six figures. But what the money doesn't cover is the time you have left to spend it. The average life expectancy of an active Sicario in a hot zone is under 4 years, not because of the police, but because of rival cartels, internal power struggles, and the simple fact that people who do dangerous things frequently will eventually find danger. Researchers who've interviewed former members say the psychological profile isn't what you'd expect. It's not pure sociopathy. It's a terrifying level of compartmentalization. They go home, they have kids, they watch football, they have a normal laugh, and then they go to work. That's somehow more disturbing than the alternative. If you survive that, you might reach the top. Rank 5, El Jefe de Plaza. The Plaza Boss. You run a city now, a corridor, a port. Congratulations, you are ungovernable and ungoverned. You manage dozens of cells, coordinate with corrupt officials, and handle supply chains that would make a Fortune 500 logistics director weep with envy. Your income is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. You have properties, vehicles, and people whose entire job is to stand near you and look threatening. But here's the trap nobody warns you about. You can't spend the money, not openly, not without explaining it. So it just sits, in walls, in fields, in foreign accounts. The DEA estimates bosses at this level lose up to 30% of their earnings just to storage and laundering costs. You are rich in a way that makes you miserable. You also can't trust anyone. Not your lieutenants, they want your job. Not your rivals, obviously. Not your family, their leverage. Not your government contacts, they're playing both sides. You sleep with a weapon. You move constantly. You have food tasters. Actual food tasters. The paranoia isn't irrational. It's an accurate assessment of reality. Because statistically, the thing that ends a Plaza Boss is almost never law enforcement. It's someone in the room with him.
Let's continue with rank 6, El Capo, the boss. You've made it, and in doing so, you've made a target out of yourself. There are maybe a dozen people in Mexico at any given time who truly hold this rank. They run organizations with annual revenues estimated between $19 and $29 billion. That's larger than the GDP of some countries. What's even wilder is that these organizations file no taxes, have no HR department, and somehow still have better employee retention than most American startups.
mostly because quitting isn't an option. By any objective measure, these are some of the most powerful people on Earth. They are also among the most hunted. The Capo exists in a permanent state of siege. Every government wants them. Every rival wants them dead. Every single person who works for them is a potential informant. The U.S. has a standing policy of offering up to $15 million for information that leads to their capture. And that $15 million bounty? It's publicly listed on the DEA's website like a LinkedIn job posting. Except the job is betraying the most dangerous man in your country, and the benefits package includes witness protection and permanent anxiety. And that leads to the great irony of the Capo's life. They started this journey for freedom, for power, for the ability to do whatever they want, whenever they want. And they ended up in a bunker, eating food brought by people they don't fully trust, unable to call their mother on her birthday because the call might be traced. Take El Chapo, the most famous capo in history. He was caught 3 times. The last time he escaped through a tunnel his own people built for him. Then he was caught again. He now sits in a supermax cell in Colorado, 23 hours a day, completely alone, with no natural light. He is estimated to be worth almost $1 billion, and he cannot buy a window. But there's another rank, the one the documentaries never cover, the one that doesn't get a cool nickname in the press. Rank 7, the Ghost, El Fantasma. This is the rank that actually wins. The Ghost is the cartel member who got out, not through a prison cell, not in a body bag. They got out through invisibility. They were smart. They moved money into legitimate businesses early on. They built a thick wall between themselves and the day-to-day operation. They have a lawyer, an accountant, and a respectable real estate portfolio. They coach their kids' soccer team on Saturdays. They are everywhere and nowhere. The Ghost understood something the Capo never did. The most dangerous thing you can do in this business isn't carry a weapon or cross a border. It's become famous. Fame is just a slow-motion arrest warrant with better lighting. Researchers estimate that for every high-profile capo who gets arrested, there are dozens of mid- to upper-level operators who successfully laundered themselves into civilian life. They're in construction, in agriculture, in local politics. Some of them have given TED-style talks at regional business conferences. Some have won local awards for community investment. The money is clean, the handshake is firm, and absolutely nobody in that room is asking the right questions. They are the reason cartels don't die when their leaders do. They are the system. So, there it is. Every rank, every consequence. From the 13-year-old on the corner making $5 a day to the billionaire in a bunker who can't call his mom. The cartel isn't a ladder you climb, it's a conveyor belt, and it only moves in one direction. The exit doors are clear: prison, death, or becoming so invisible that for all intents and purposes you were never really there. And the most terrifying part? That belt is still moving, right now, in real time, in cities you've heard of and in cities you haven't. And somewhere, a kid is standing on a corner, and someone is walking toward him with an offer, and it's going to take about 4 seconds.